Hello, everyone. This is Jim Lapointe with Colden Company, and thank you for joining us. Our presentation today is Productivity Suite Tricks. And just a note before we get started, everybody is in listen-only mode. If you do have questions or comments, feel free to type them in either to the chat or the Q&A boxes in WebEx, and we'll get to those at the end of the presentation. Also, another point here is this particular topic, Productivity Suite Tricks, was a customer suggestion. So as most of you hopefully know, we try to do presentations on a monthly basis for you. They're free. And if there's a particular topic that you would like us to present on, please let us know. These are here for your benefit. So if there's something you'd like to see, please send me a note and we'll try to incorporate it into our series. Okay. First of all, a little bit about us. Colden Company is an information technology service organization founded in 2003. So we've been in business about 15 years now. We have offices in both St. Augustine, Florida, which is where I'm talking to you from today, as well as in Ballston Spa, New York. Our customer footprint expands out into about 16 states, as well as 3 countries outside the U.S. And we have many leading technical certifications, several Microsoft certifications on staff. Just to be upfront, I do not have an Office certification. We're going to be talking a lot about Microsoft Office today. Although I'm not certified in that, I do have some tricks that I can offer you. Okay. Our agenda for today, we're just going to define what is productivity software. And then we're going to do something a little different. Normally with these presentations, you're listening to me talk and go through PowerPoint. Today we're going to get our hands dirty. So we're going to break from the PowerPoint and actually dive into some of the applications and show you some things. And then we'll do some Q&A at the end. Okay, so what is productivity software? Well, the most notable one is Microsoft Office. So obviously, from the word productivity, these are software programs that are designed to make workers more productive. And Microsoft Office is probably the most prevalent one out there, but they're not the only one. Google has their G Suite productivity suite. That's probably most famous for its Google Sheets. One of the main advantages of Google Sheets is that it allows users to collaborate and both be entering things into the spreadsheet at the same time, whereas Microsoft Excel is more of a single user spreadsheet application. Google Sheets allows that real-time collaboration, so you can see your partner entering data into the spreadsheet while you're working on it. So those are a couple of the big ones. Adobe has a productivity suite as well, mostly centered around their PDF documents. And we'll get into some PDF tricks as well in our presentation here. So before we actually dive in, I do want to make a point and just let folks know that Microsoft Office can be purchased as a subscription as opposed to a one-time license. And this is just informational here because it's worth noting. In past, you would buy Microsoft Office either with a new computer, which meant that that license was tied to that computer, or you would buy a retail license, which means it's a license that is licensed to you. That license can be moved from machine to machine, but it's a per user license. With Microsoft Office 365, what they've done is instead of a one-time purchase, it's an annual subscription. And with that subscription, your Microsoft Office suite is always kept up to date. So they're going to continually push down updates as they're making enhancements and improvements to the product. And when they come out with new versions, like Office 2019 will be coming out in a few months, you are entitled to those newer versions with that subscription. So you don't need to re-buy Microsoft Office as you had to in the past. If you bought a license of 2013, then 4 or 5 years down the road, you would have to purchase the newer version. Not the case with the subscription. that allows you to get those upgrades for free. Now what will happen, just so you know, it doesn't automatically push the upgrade to you. It gives you the option. If you'd like to upgrade, then you tell it you want to upgrade. If you don't, then you can delay that. Other advantages with the subscription is you're allowed to install that license on up to 5 different devices. We're talking about the business licenses here. So for example, I have an Office 365 subscription. I've got the software loaded on my work laptop here and also on my home tablet that I have. And that's the same license. I didn't have to buy 2 different versions. So that's really where you can see some value in the subscription as opposed to what they call the perpetual license. And the third bullet point here is if you're deploying this enterprise-wide, it really does away with some of the compatibility issues that you've seen in the past, where you've got somebody that's taking advantage of a new feature that's in Office 2016, but they're sending that sheet to somebody who's running Office 2010 and they don't have that functionality, and you get those compatibility issues. If your whole company is on a subscription, then everybody's going to be running current versions and do away with those compatibility issues. So I just wanted to point that out to make sure people are aware of that option for obtaining Microsoft Office. Okay, it is demonstration time here. So what we're going to do is break from PowerPoint, and I'm going to open up Word, Excel, and then a program called Nitro PDF, and go through different tricks in each of those applications. The reason we've chosen Nitro PDF is earlier this year, Adobe had quite a price increase for their Adobe Acrobat software. They used to have an agreement with some of the resellers like Dell and HP where you could buy a pretty dramatically discounted version of Acrobat, which is the full version that allows you to modify PDFs when you're buying a new computer. And that agreement ended with Dell and HP and did not get renewed. So the pricing for that went from something like $40 for a license to $299 a license. Pretty dramatic improvement, increase in the price. So here at Colden, when we found out that that was occurring, we started researching alternatives and looked at Nitro and Foxit and some others that were alternatives. Nitro is the second highest rated by Consumer Reports for PDF editing behind Adobe. We tried it out in-house here at Colden, liked it, and have deployed that to quite a number of our customers, and that's why we're focusing on that particular PDF product today. Okay, so let's take a break from PowerPoint here. Minimize that. And we're going to open up a Word document here. So bear with me while I bring that onto our screen here. And the first thing I want to talk about is templates. So when you're opening a new document in Office or in Word, you can choose templates. So I'll bring over Word here. I'm going to choose File, New. You can see I've got some templates here that I can choose from. There's a handful of them. There is a whole lot more if you actually go to templates.office.com. And in there, I'm in the category section here. There's a lot of different templates that you can choose from. So I'm just going to randomly pick one here. I'll pick maps. Let's say I want to use this map as a template. So I can select it and I can download it. And what's going to happen here, it's downloading that to my downloads folder. I have to place that template somewhere where Word can find it. That was probably not a good one. That looks like a PowerPoint template. So I'm actually going to back up here and pick something that might be a Word template. Maybe here we go. It tells me over here. I'll download this travel brochure. Okay. Now, you can find out in Word. So let me bring Word back up here. If I click down to Options, then into Save, this is going to tell me where Word is going to be looking for those personal templates. So what I have to do is, when I've downloaded this template here, I need to save that in that particular folder. So that's what I'm going to do here. I went to my other screen, so bear with me one second here. I'll copy that to the main screen in 1 second. Okay, so in my templates folder, I've just saved this travel brochure as travel brochure in my templates folder. Minimize this. So now if I want to open a new document in Word and I click on my personal templates, now that travel brochure is one of the options I have to choose from. So you can build your own set of templates from the templates.office.com site for things that you might want to use on a regular basis. Very handy. Okay, trick number 2. This one's probably a more obvious one, something that hopefully all of you know at this point, but you can save Word documents directly to PDF. There's a couple ways to do that. You can see here I've got an option right here, Save as Adobe PDF. That will do it. Another way to do that might be to choose Save As. And one of the options in the drop-down is to save my document as a PDF. So I'm going to do that, and you can see that it's created a PDF file out of my Word document right from Word. Handy little trick there. Okay. Inside of Word, I'm going to focus on a few features here. One is this Mailings tab here. And I'm not going to go through the mail merge step by step here. That's for another day. But I do want to point something out. If you're going to be using the mail merge feature, where essentially you're going to take a document and blast it out via email to many people, one thing I want you to be aware of is that you can flag yourself as a spammer if you're sending out too many emails at one time. So every email system has a different limit of what they presume to be a spammer and what is acceptable. I'm going to focus on Microsoft Office 365 since that's a pretty prominent email platform. They will allow you to send 500 emails per message and up to 1,000 per day. If you exceed those limits, Microsoft is going to flag your email account as a spammer, and then people aren't going to get your emails anymore. It's going to go to their junk folder as spam. So you have to be aware of that. It can actually get worse. If you reactivate your account, because sometimes they'll deactivate your account, you can reactivate it. If you are a continual offender, you can even get your entire domain blocked. So your entire organization's email will get flagged as being spam. And you certainly don't want that to happen. So the point here is to be very careful when you're using mail merge. Try not to exceed those limits and avoid those problems. They make services like Constant Contact and MailChimp and things like that that are designed to do those mass mailings. That's what they're for, so that you don't end up flagging yourself as being a spammer. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing here. I'm going to pull up a different Word document here. Bear with me. Okay, so this one is a different document called Compare Me. So what we can do here is compare two documents if you want to see differences. So if you're sending out a document to a customer for review, you want to make sure they didn't modify any of the terms and conditions, this compare feature can be handy. And that is under the Review tab here. So I'm going to click Review and look for Compare, which is over here. I'm going to compare two documents. So here I've got to actually pick my documents. I'm going to have to find my documents. I've got them in a specific folder here. I've got my original, which is doc number 1, and I'm going to compare that to my Compare Me document here. And then go ahead. Okay. So what it's showing me is the difference between the two documents. The original one said this is document number 1. I'll save it as PDF. The second one said this is document number 2. So here it is showing you the difference in those two documents. The only difference I have in here. But it brings it up in a separate page. Normally you'd probably have more changes. That'll appear in this results tab over here. So the compare, and combined are two nice features. Okay, I'm not going to save that. Now in each of these sections that we're going through, we're going to talk about some security features. In today's world, we're really trying to put an emphasis on security. There's so many dangers and risks out there. We want to make sure that we're properly protecting our documents. So I'm going to protect this document here. Actually, I'm going to open up a new one. This one is important, so I need to protect it. I can go into File, Protect Document, and then this option here, Encrypt with a Password. So I'm going to just give it a simple password for my own purposes here. Makes me re-enter it. So what's happening behind the scenes when I've done that, it's actually encrypting this document. So I'm going to go ahead and close out here. Yes, I'll save it. And when I go to reopen this document, before I can get to it, I need to have that password. That password is actually acting as a decryption key to decrypt the document. If I type the wrong password here, nope, can't get in. Got to have the right password. So I'll go back here. This time I'll type the correct password. And now I've got access to my document. Another trick for you, if you have a password protected document and you want to undo that, we're going to go back into Protect Document here, back into this Encrypt with Password, and you'll see there's no way to say get rid of the password or don't encrypt. What you have to do is actually remove the password here. By removing the password, that unprotects the document. Now I'm going to save this. If I go back in here, no password to access it. So if you've got any type of a document that stores what we call PII, or personal identifiable information, social security numbers, any health information, credit card numbers, that type of data that your business has a legal obligation to protect, a good idea to use that encryption feature in Word. Okay, last trick for Microsoft Word. This is a neat one. It's how to recover unsaved documents. So even if I haven't saved this document here, behind the scenes, Microsoft is saving this periodically. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into Options, Save, and we can see here that really every 10 minutes, it's saving our documents to this location. In the App Data Roaming Microsoft Word, that's the auto recover file location. So we've seen this happen before. Somebody's working on a document, they don't save it and they meant to save it and they close out and they think everything's gone. Not necessarily. You can actually recover some files here. So what you have to do to recover it, let's see here. The documents are going to be in this folder. What I've done is I did this previously because I haven't had this document open 10 minutes, so it's not going to have an auto-save version of it. I previously saved a file. So what we're going to do here is go to Manage Documents, Recover Unsaved Documents. Now here it's by default going to that folder that I just pointed out to you where those unsaved documents are going to be. I don't have any in there. I haven't had anything open 10 minutes. But what I did do is I prepared, and I do have a document right here that I'm going to recover. I guess it says you have I have to move that back to the original location. That's what it's telling me. So essentially what you would do, I moved it out of there for the purposes of this demonstration, and obviously that was not a good idea. If the document is in here, it's going to find that. You would simply select it, hit open, and it recovers the file. So what I have here from earlier is a document that I recovered from the autosave, recovered from earlier. Okay, that's a real handy feature. Okay, next we're going to move on from Word and we're going to move into Excel. I'm going to open up an Excel spreadsheet here. Okay, the first thing I'm going to point out is there is a search function up at the top here. So as the Excel versions get more and more modern, they add more and more features. Sometimes it's difficult to find the features that you want in Excel. Is it under the Review tab? Is it in the View tab? Where is it? So let's say, for example, I want to create a chart of my data here, but I don't know where to find the charts. I'm just going to type it in the search here. Oh, look at that. It's going to help me get right to the Create Chart option. I'm going to choose that, and it's going to give me recommended charts that it thinks is the most appropriate for my data. If you click on this tab here for all charts, it'll give you more options. This one's a new one. This is new with Office 2016 and higher. It's called a Sunburst chart. Kind of neat. So it will break down my sales here in this circular array here. Just a neat chart that's a new one in 2016. Okay. Another thing you can do is if you want to search throughout your data. So let's say I'm trying to find months that begin with the letter J. You do a Control F, which is a search. I can do J asterisk. Now the asterisk is going to act as a wildcard, meaning any characters after the J will meet the criteria for this search. I'll go ahead and find all. And you can see here that it found June, July, and January. Those are all months that begin with J. So it worked as designed. A different wildcard that you can use is a question mark. A question mark will substitute one letter. So let's say I want to find months that begin with JU and then have another character at the end. So obviously that will exclude January, but still should find June and July, and it does. So for searches, those are handy tools to know, is to be able to substitute the asterisk and the question mark in your search fields. Okay. Another common question we have is, I'm typing in Excel, and I'm typing in an account number, and my account number is 000111. When I hit Enter here, Excel is going to assume that's a number and get rid of those leading zeros. And you may not want that. There's a couple of solutions here. Number one, we can go to Format Cells, change this to a text formatted cell instead of a number. And then if I type 000111, it's going to leave those leading zeros on there. Another solution that people often use if they don't want to go through the hassle of doing that is they'll just put a little apostrophe in the front, 000111. You can barely see that apostrophe, but that will keep it as a text-based field because you've stuck that apostrophe at the very beginning of the field. Little trick there. Okay, let's move on to conditional formatting. This is a feature that I use a lot, that I like. We've got our data set here, and let's say we want to find months with less than 5 sales as an example. I'm going to highlight my data set, go to conditional formatting, highlight, actually I want to highlight just this column here. highlight cells that have a value less than 5 and fill them as red. Boom. Now it stands out to me which months that we didn't have very good sales. I want to do another one. Let's do one where sales that are more than, let's make it 8. And let's fill that with green. Those are really good months. We want to see those in a different color. The nice thing about this is, let's say we go back and we revise May and say, no, we actually did better than that in May. You can see it's automatically going to change the coloring based on the value. Put that back here. This is very handy to make data stand out. When you've got sheets with lots of data, the conditional formatting really helps things like that stand out. Okay, we can also use data filters. So I'm going to select our data here, go up to data. In the simple act of clicking on filter, you're going to see now we've got drop-down boxes here. So this allows us to filter our data. So I can select which months I want to see. I only want to see the last quarter of the year, which would be the last 3 months. I can do that. If I want to do a text filter, I want to find months that begin with the letter J. I got January, June, and July. I want to undo that. If I want to undo this text filter, I believe I can just click. Oh, I'm sorry. Clear filters, that's what I was looking for right there. Clearing that filter will make that go away. Okay, so there's lots of options to filter. You can filter less than, greater than, equal to, starts with. You can make custom filters. Filters are very handy to allow you to see the data that you want to see. Okay. You'll also notice there is a Get Data button here that allows you to import data from other programs. That's a very common use for Excel, is pulling data in from other applications to allow you to be able to manipulate it, because Excel is so good at doing that type of data manipulation. One thing you may have noticed is some of the newer versions of Excel work a little bit differently when you're importing from text file. And that's a complaint that I've heard from different people, is things don't work the same in the newer versions of Excel as they did in the old. So let's say you've got a legacy application that you're used to exporting data from and pulling it into Excel. What I want to show you is you have this legacy wizard here. So you can use the old legacy import from text file, even though they've got the new one right on the menu here. It is available to you. So if you're used to using that, that works better for you. It's still available in the new versions of Excel. Okay, finally, we're going to get to some of our security measures here. We can protect a worksheet just like we did with Word. It's going to work pretty much the same way. Go ahead and set my password here. Makes me re-enter it for verification. And now my worksheet is protected. So if I save this and close out, reopen it, got to have that password in order to get in. And in the same manner, I can unprotect it by removing that password. Okay. Last thing to show you is the digital signature. And I'm going to explain digital signature in a lot more detail when we get to the PDF section here. But what you can do here is say, all right, I've created and approved this document. I don't want it changed. And then I can sign it here. Now my document cannot be edited by anyone else. So if I send the spreadsheet to somebody and I've digitally signed it, they're not going to be able to edit it and make changes to it. That way you can make sure that the spreadsheet that you're sending out is the same spreadsheet that's coming back. Now for me, since I'm the owner, I could override that by doing edit anyway, and it'll allow me to edit it. But by default, if I'm trying, you can see I can't type in any of these cells here because the document has been digitally signed and basically frozen in that state. Great to secure documents. Okay, we're going to move on to our third and final, which is PDFs here. And I'm going to open a PDF here. This is what I've called PDF number 1. And I secured that document here. Okay, in a similar manner, they have combines. I think there is a compare as well. If I go into review, I can compare two PDF documents. It's going to work pretty much the same way as it does in Word. But what I want to show you here is doing what's called an electronic signature. So in Nitro, they have something called QuickSign. So I've gone ahead and I've set up a signature for myself. If I didn't, you would simply go to Create Signature. It would allow you to either import a signature or you can actually draw your own signature. From the looks of my signature, you can tell that I drew it. But I want to add my signature to this document. I simply click on my signature. I'm going to plop my signature right there. Save a tree. Instead of printing, signing, scanning, and re-emailing, I can do all of that right from within Nitro. And that's by setting up the QuickSign. And I'll explain the difference between an electronic signature and a digital signature in a minute here. But in order to complete this document, first I need to add my date in. So they also have an option here to type text. So I'm going to click there. And now I'm going to be able to type in today's date. And I've done that. And I can save this document. Now I can send this back to whoever asked me to sign it. And I've got it signed and dated, never had it to print, never had to waste paper, never had to scan anything. Really is a time saver by using this functionality here. Okay, so let's circle back to our digital signature versus electronic signature. This is an electronic signature. That is fine for signing simple proposals, things that you want to be legally binding. You might want to do a digital signature. So what a digital signature is doing, it's encrypting your document, again, making sure that nothing can possibly change on it. And that's going to be a lot more legally binding than just an electronic signature, which is kind of informally signing a document. So to do that, to do a digital signature, where is that here? It's going to be under Protect. And I'm going to digitally sign my document. Okay, so you have to have a signature set up, which I've done ahead of time here. And I'm going to apply this. You can see it's got a timestamp, today's date and time. I'm the author of this document. And when I apply that signature, you got a nice little check mark here that says this document is signed. Nothing has changed since the time that it was digitally signed, and this document is valid. Now, if I go in and I try to modify this document, let's say I go and add some more text here. Oops. You'll notice here, this noticed that this document has changed from when I digitally signed it and is no longer valid. So that exclamation point pops up to let you know something has changed in this document. So that is great for legally binding documents. The digital signature is a little bit more formal. Okay, last thing I want to show you here, since we're running a little bit low on time here, is actually I got two more things here. We can add stamps. So let me go to Review, and we have different stamps here. So let's say I want to mark this document as urgent. I can just simply click here and plop that on the page. You can see there's a whole slew. If you're doing invoices, you want to mark your invoice as paid to send to somebody, just simply drag and drop and click, and it puts it on the document. So these stamps can be very handy as well. Okay, final thing is protecting a document. So that is going to be under Protect. And where is that here? I guess I did that already. We did the digital signature. I was looking to add a password to that. Here we go. If I wanted to add a password, I would click on the Info tab, Protect Document, and then the security method here, I could say it's password protected. So this particular document has already been digitally signed. So let me open a different PDF here. I'm not going to save that. Okay, an important document that I want to protect. I'm going to say password protected. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I've applied that protection. So when I go to reopen this super important document, I need that password to get in. If I want to undo that, you come back here. And whereas with Word and Excel, you would simply erase the password, here you actually have to set that back to no security, and that will change that back. Okay, so we put a little emphasis today on security with some of these Productivity Suite tricks, because we think in today's world it's pretty important to make sure we're protecting our data and our documents. Okay, so let's wrap up here. As our summary, being on a current version of the Productivity Suite can yield advantages, a lot of neat things you can do in some of the newer versions. Take advantage of free training. That's a reminder for myself to tell you, if you go to coldencompany.com/ColdenTV, you'll see on the right-hand side of the page a bunch of free videos. We have things ranging from security to Outlook tricks and Excel tricks. We also have a link to Microsoft training for Office 2016. Those things are all free and for your use. So we're constantly looking for things that our customers can take advantage of for free training. So please do look at that and take advantage. Bullet point number 3, step up your security. Use the password protection, use those signatures, use them where they make sense. So thank you for your time here. Go forth and be productive. So at this point, I did see a couple of questions that popped in. If you have more, please type them into the Q&A or the chat, and I'll get to them. On the screen here is my contact information, phone number, email address. Please feel free to email me with any questions. And if you have ideas for topics you'd like to see us present on, we're very open to that as well. Okay. First question I had here is obviously from a technical person. What level of encryption does Excel use to encrypt files? The answer to that is really dependent on what version, but all of the currently supported versions use what's called AES 256-bit encryption. So it's a very reputable, solid encryption method. Some of the old versions of Excel used a pretty weak encryption key that could be compromised. The newer versions have pretty solid encryption. Okay, second one here. Does Excel have a recover unsaved spreadsheets like Word? Yes, it does. I did not show that, but I can. So let me pull up Excel here and start a spreadsheet here. So in the same manner, you're going to go to your options and the Save tab, and it's going to show you where those unsaved Excel spreadsheets are going to sit. So in the case of Word, it was just one folder over. Excel is right there. by default, Microsoft is saving things every 10 minutes for you, and it can be recovered from there as well. Okay. Any other questions at this point? Those are the only two that came in. Okay, if not, I certainly want to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy schedules to join us here. And any questions or anything we can do to help out, please reach out to us. Thanks, folks, and have a great day.